Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to Inner Healer. I'm Shakri, and today we're going to be talking about Pluto in Scorpio. Now, if you were born between the year of November 1983 to November 1995, then you have Pluto in Scorpio. Now, what is Pluto and what is Scorpio? Well, Pluto is actually at home when it's in the sign of Scorpio. Pluto is ruled by the sign of Scorpio. So it is the most powerful. So whoever is watching this, because you have Pluto and Scorpio, just know that you have the most powerful Pluto placement. You are the leader of the new school. It's time for you to rise to the occasion because you have to transform whatever house that you have Pluto sitting in. That is the house that you have to transform in your life so that you can go out into the world and help transform the world, whatever area you are, whatever house you find your Pluto in. You're going to transform this house, but you're also going to have to research this house deeply because this is going to give you hints on what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, the way you go about doing it. It's going to give you all the hints that you need in that house specifically. And then you're going to look at the aspects because the aspects are going to give you a deeper insight on how you're supposed to transform that area of your life. The planets are the tools. The planets are giving you the tools in order to do whatever it is in your life that you have to do. So when I look at a birth chart and I find Pluto and I see it in whatever house that it's in, I say to myself, okay, this is the house that has to transform. Okay, so Pluto, it transformed, especially in Scorpio. So now we're going to think of everything Pluto in Scorpio because it's the most powerful. What does it mean? Death and rebirth. So you're going to build, you're going to break down and build back up. This is the house where you might see the most toxicity. And that is only because it only time is the most toxicity is if it's not evolved. Once you start to evolve it, it's going to be like the phoenix rising to the occasion. Like I said, powerful. You are powerful. You have to rise to the occasion. That is the whole theme of the Scorpio. The scorpion rising to the occasion, being that phoenix rising to that occasion, doing the most boldest things, going into the underworld, digging deep into that dark shadow side. Whatever house you have this in, you're going to take ego out and you're going to put shadow in because you have to know how to deal with it. This is the house where you're going to hold the most secrets. Your secrets are going to be safe here. Why? Because you're going to keep them to yourself. This is the house where people are going to know things about you only if you tell them. This is not something, Scorpio is all about secrets anyway. So whatever house you have this in, this is where you're going to hold all your secrets and they're going to stay there. They're going to be buried like a treasure. Put it up, wrap it in a box, bury it like a treasure. That's Scorpio. Scorpio's sister sign is Taurus. When I just said treasure, when I think of treasure, I think of Taurus. When I see Taurus, I see treasure. This is the dark side. This is where you will fight the dark side, but it's only in your subconscious. This is something that is embedded in you. This is something that you've seen before because Pluto and Scorpio people have been through the most in their lifetime. The things that you've seen, the things that you've endured, no one else can match that. Except for if they're your counterparts with that Pluto and Scorpio. Imagine having another planet conjuncting your Pluto. You're amplifying it. So those people will feel you on a deeper level. But the Pluto and Scorpio people, no one can top any type of death, drugs, sex, everything. You were exposed to that young. You seen that young. Remember, you were born during the 80s or the early 90s. So that's the crack era. You were born when it was it was a go. It was money, drugs, sex. It was everything right there. Put it in your face. That's when the TV used to have the people, doing the do, and it was shaggy and you could see that. That's when we were born around that time. We were coming up around that time. That's when cable TV was popping and you could see that kind of stuff on cable TV. That's when all the movies came out. Juice, Belly. Well, you grew up watching these. They didn't necessarily have to come out at that time, but these were the movies that if you have Pluto and Scorpio, these are the movies you know all too well. Friday, Set It Off, Menace to Society, Baby Boy, State Property, Paper Soldiers. All of those movies were, what is the theme in those? Money, drugs, sex. This is the Tupac and Biggie era. So you know what's beef, that was big at that time. And then you see what happened to them. So that was what was going on at that time also. That's what we were growing up around. That's what we saw. Wherever you have this, whatever house you have this in, this is where you're going to see your most controlling and your most manipulative ways. If it's in the third house, you're controlling and manipulative with your speech. You can manipulate anything into, you have the gift of gab. You can sell salt to a snail. I like to think that the more in tune with your body, the more in tune with your mind, your soul. So the more you use your intuition, the more intuitive you are, the better you can live with your Pluto, because you're able to recognize. You're able to see the jealousy, the manipulation, the controlling. You're able to see these things. And when you see it, you're able to transform. Pluto, transform. You're able to transform that energy into something else. You are an alchemist. You can turn nothing into something. You have that power. You also struggle with like the power. You have power struggles, that push pull, that magnetic effect. You have it, whatever house you have it in. So now it's time for you to work with it, or it's going to wreak havoc on your life. The bonds that you have are so deep. They're so intense. They're more on the emotional level. Sometimes when I think of Pluto, I also think of Saturn. And when I think of that, I think of it in the aspect of they both hold their own power. They both big homies in their own way. Like you have to look up to both of them in somehow, some way. Pluto and Saturn alike, they both get better with time. The older you get, the more you're able to recognize and work with them. The better you are acclimated to even work with them. You have the experience. You have the life experience. So they kind of work hand in hand. Saturn is, like the grandfather. The Saturn is what raises you up. And Pluto is like that one that's going to regulate your emotions. They both are like you feel like they came through and they want to destroy you, but they're not there to destroy you. They're there to actually grow you. They're there to transform you. They're there to Saturn grow, Pluto transform. They're there to make you a better you. Yes, they're both malignant, but there's still beauty in everything. You can still find good things in it. Why? Because you're able to turn nothing into something. People always want to shy away from their Pluto and their Saturn. But when you look at your Pluto and your Saturn, that's where you're going to see the most evolution in your life. That's where you're going to see that you evolve the most. Because with Pluto, it breaks it down and it helps you build on more solid ground. So you have that better foundation there, and then you can build up. Remember, Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, which is there to help you rebuild. So when you think of the sister signs, they actually work hand in hand also. All of the signs actually work with each other. The planets, they actually work with each other. Once you figure out how to intertwine all of every sign and planet and house, you can start to figure things out. You can start to see how you can help your life be a little bit more easier. Of course, nothing in life is going to come very easy, but you can be more equipped to navigate through this thing called life. And in navigating this thing called life, you're able to help others, because the Pluto and Scorpio people are the ones that are really out here helping the people. They feeding the people. They giving the people that knowledge. They're being that listening ear. Scorpio psychology. They're being the psychologists. They're being the people that are just helping you work through your trauma. How can we help you work through your trauma? Because we've been there. I'm not going to say we've seen it all, but we done seen a lot. Way too much that we probably shouldn't have seen and from young. Things that we were seeing as young were things that we should have never seen, things we should have never heard. But overall, these are the people, the healers of the world. So just know that wherever you have Pluto, you're here to help heal. You're here to heal yourself first, transform yourself first, help yourself out before you go and help someone else. But essentially, you're here to help others deal with the trauma that they deal with. So be on the lookout for the shorts that we have coming up. We're going to put out shorts and you're going to get a gist of how to deal with Pluto in which house. We're going to do Pluto houses 1 through 12. If you have Pluto and Scorpio houses 1 through 12, you're going to be able to find that specific short for yourself and watch it and be able to learn a little bit more about that house specifically and what it means for you and your chart. And then you put it with the rest of your chart. And then that's how you're going to learn how to be that healer that you are, that alchemist that I know you can be. And that video was a video on Pluto in Scorpio. If you like what you heard in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Peace.